about to show up, but
Supposed to show up.
but if you want, we can get right to it.
Yeah, go ahead.
And we have some water right there if you can
Okay.
some.
I hope I'm not gonna be here long enough to drink water.
But okay. So which wars did you serve in?
Korea and Vietnam.
Wow. Why did you join the war? What made you want to join?
In Korea, they just started it previously, and I was gonna go save my country. So I volunteered for the Marine Corps.
Wow.
So I see no other way, you know, that's where you gotta go. If you feel that way, that's what you wanna do.
Did you always plan to go into the military?
As permanent, you do realize I was in there for 30 years, don't you?
Yes, sir. Thank you for your service.
But, no, I went into the Marine Corps and served my time in the Marine Corps and got out in the reserves, and I stayed in the Marine Corps reserves for several years. But one of the reasons I got out of the Marine Corps, out of that, out of the line, and I got tired of being shot at. I didn't like that. I never could figure out that, you know, they told me you shouldn't smoke, it's bad for you. You shouldn't do this, it's bad for you. They never told me that those bullets coming at you was all that bad for you. So,
Yes, sir. Did you like the military?
oh, yeah,
experience?
yes. Definitely beyond any shadow of a doubt. If I had it all to do over again, I'd do it.
Really?
I'd do it instantaneously, yes.
That's awesome.
Hello.
That's Kyle Wood, by the way. How long? So 30 years in the military.
Total military time, 30 years.
Wow, it's really awesome. So, how long did you participate in like each war? Like,
The Vietnam, no, Korea was a year. I was on the front lines
wow,
for a year. And then after that I got out, and that's when I got into the Marine Corps Reserve. When you're in the Marine Corps and you're on the front line, you're a grunt. When you're in the Marine Corps and you're working on airplanes, you're an air dater. And after that, I went into the Air Force. So, and I stayed in the Air Force for 20 years.
wow, that's really awesome. Did you receive any injuries in the war?
No.
Not at all.
Mm-mm.
Wow, that's really awesome. So where all were you placed, like location-wise in like Korea and Vietnam, or did you switch around a lot?
All over the world. Literally, all over the world. When I was in the Marine Corps, I spent about a year aboard ship in the Mediterranean.
Wow.
I was in a combat battalion that sailed all around the Mediterranean. That's so they could be the first force in.
Wow.
And that's what I spent about a year doing.
It's crazy. So, what were the living conditions like in every place that you went to?
Oh, it was great, just lovely, big fluffy sheets and, what do you think?
That surprised me. Sorry. That's really cool. When you first joined the war, did they immediately just like send you right into the front lines? Or, like-
No, I didn't do that. I trained before I went over there. As I went from, when I got my assignment for Korea, a friend of mine from Indiana bought a car, and I lived in Memphis at that time, Tennessee, not Memphis, Texas, Memphis, Tennessee. And he come down to Memphis and picked me up, and we drove out to California. Well, on our way out there, we stopped and we were swimming in the irrigation ditches, you know. And I told this friend of mine, I said, nah, I don't feel good. I said, something's wrong. I just flat out don't feel good. He said, well, let's go on to the base then. And so we got in the car and drove on to Pendleton, where I was going to be stationed at. Got to Pendleton, and an hour later I was operated on for appendicitis. So the doctor come in to see me after that, and he said, well, you're not going to be going to Korea. I said, he said, you know, with just that operation, you can't go right now. I said, why? He said, what do you mean? Well, I said, I want to go. I want to go with the people that I've been trained with and that. And he said, well, so did I. When I was going to Guam, I wanted to go with my people. I said, yeah, you're right. But you couldn't do nothing about that. But you can do something about me. Well, he let me go, turned me loose.
Wow.
And when those guys found out that I couldn't laugh without hurting, guess what? Same thing you guys would do right now. Everything you could do to make me laugh, that'd be what it was.
That's awesome. Did any of your friends from your hometown join the military
Yeah,
with you?
yeah, sure did. The guy I joined with, we were in the same classes at school, and he had beautiful, beautiful red hair. And of course, when he went into the induction, when we first went in, we went from by train to Paris Island. And when we got there, they cut all his hair off.
Oh.
Everybody got their hair cut off. Everybody turned bald, you know.
Oh man.
And when they did that, it never came back. It came back as an auburn hair. He's, I can see him now. You know, when they was cutting his hair off, he was crying. But he had beautiful red hair.
That's funny.
But now he went into Amtrak. You know what that is?
No, sir.
It's an amphibious tank.
Oh wow.
And he went into that, and I went into artillery at that particular time.
So, what exactly do you do in the reserve over at the?
Well, you do the same
Marine.
thing in reserve, only you do it once a month. You know, if you're active reserve, you do the same thing as a regular does, but it's in a reserve. And you don't fight no enemies in, you know. You make believe. But now, one of the things I can remember about my reserve time, we got in an airplane, what they call a flying boxcar. And we got in it in Memphis, Tennessee, and flew all the way to El Toro, California. And the most speed it could make was about 100 miles an hour.
Must have been a long time.
Long trip, long trip. And you could see those tails jumping up and down the whole way, and wasn't nothing you can do but get air sick and hope it ends pretty soon.
Man. Well, that's pretty much all I have. Do you have any other experiences that I don't know, maybe anything that in your life that
You want us to know?
yeah.
What?
Like
Like-
anything like that you want us to know?
Oh, I'll be truthful, when I came down here, I didn't know what was gonna happen. They didn't tell me what it was all about. But now, some of the experience I'm gonna say, the military's been good to me. You know, when I got out, when I got discharged from the military, I had full medical benefits, and of course got retirement pay too. Now, you may not think that's important, but I bet your mom and dad does. That's important. But now after I got out of the Marine Corps, I went into the Air Force. In the Air Force, I was an electronic ECM technician. That's working on electronic countermeasure. In other words, when we flew against the enemy, we jammed their radar, and they couldn't fire at us. So they couldn't hit us, they could fire at us all they wanted to, but it wouldn't do any good.
That's awesome.
But now, in the Air Force, I traveled all around too. You know, I traveled England, Russia, Belgium, Philippines.
Wow.
A lot of travel in there, and that we enjoyed that. You know, me and my wife and Dee, my daughter, you know, but we enjoyed that quite a bit. The only thing I come out when I was in Vietnam, when I come out of Korea, it didn't bother me that much. You know, I was still young enough to know that I was invincible. But when I came out, when I was in Vietnam in the Air Force, they shelled us, mortared us every night.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and that, I come from that, and when I got out of that and I was coming home and I'd hear any car backfire or something, I dove for the ditch. So yes, that, I left, you know, but the Air Force was good. The Air Force was professionals. You know, you weren't meat for the grinder. And that's what you are in the Marine Corps. You're meat for the grinder. You know, they don't want you to say why. If you say why, you're in trouble. You know, you do what you're told.
Yes, sir.
The first experience I had when I went to Korea, we had to march up a mountain, 5 miles up a mountain. Not this way, but that way, you know.
Well, I mean, that's still bad.
Yeah. 5 miles up that mountain. When I got to the top of the mountain, the guy says, all right, go down, you know, dig in around here and that. And then he pretty soon he came back to him and says, you're gonna lead a squad into the no man's land and tell us what's there. I said, what? Hey, not me. So I had my squad and I took them in to no man's land. And that's across, every place has it. Here's the enemy, here's your defenders. And between this, you don't sit next to each other. You're a long ways apart. And you have to go across it. And the man who's maintaining that is the one who gets out in it and works in that land. Well, I led my squad all the way through that. And as we go in, you can literally smell the enemy. You know, especially when you're talking about Vietnamese or something like that, because they eat different. They eat rice, they eat the fish, they eat different foods than we eat. And I went in, led them all in there, and I got into it pretty far, and I said, wait a minute, let's turn around and back out. And we had gone into an ambush, but the Lord was with us, and we got back out without a shot being fired.
Wow, that is crazy.
And they had us dead to rights. You know, they could have totally cleaned up on us if they'd wanted to.
Wow. Did you see the Lord work in any other ways while you served?
Yeah, always.
That's awesome.
The one thing I can remember from that though is, our chaplain came up on the front lines there and was having a service on Sunday. And he was from Tupelo, Mississippi. And he preached a sermon there and he says, the Lord don't want you here. He's not endorsing this at all, you know. I said, what? What's that? And after he stopped and talked about it a little bit, he's right, you know. I don't think the Lord has sent us out to kill somebody else or be killed. You know, it's man who's done that, who sent us out
Yes.
to fight each other. Any other questions?
I actually think we're pretty good. I think we have a couple more interviews in a little bit, and we'll have some new questions for you. But this is really helpful.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.